Okay, so now we have all our pump parts nice and clean and dry. So the first thing we're going to do is put our vane pump together here. So we've already got a new front seal in it. Now we're going to put the shaft in and the rotor. I'm going to take a little assembly gel and just kind of lube it up right there. Now we're going to install the teeny weeny snap ring onto this holds the rotor onto the shaft. There. Perfect. Notice also that we've got the groove here facing up the way it was when we tore the unit down. Now we're going to put in our dowel pins. And our rotor. Now the rotor can go on either way, but you'll notice that when it's installed incorrectly here, I'm going to put it down on here. Oh, look at that. With the rotor on there, it won't go on both ways. How about that? With the rotor on there, it'll only go on one way. Okay? I was trying it before I was talking to you guys, and it would go on either way, but once the rotor's in there, take it and flip it around, won't go on that way. So, rotor only goes on one way. There's a couple of different ways to also tell which way it goes on, but with the rotor on there, it only goes on one way. Okay, so now we're going to take our little tiny rotor, our pump vanes, and we're going to go ahead and install these one at a time. This is what makes this thing incredibly efficient. These rotors, it has two chambers on either side, and at any given time it only needs, unless it goes to a high load situation where we need tons of fluid, we only need one side of this will produce enough volume to work the pump correctly, create enough pressure in the pump where it's only one size, so it's got built-in efficiency. Okay, so there we've got our rotors all installed, everything's good to go. And now we can put the top on. Remember, we said we didn't have to take this baffle out here, so we just didn't mess with it. And you'll see the rotor here, the top of the pump here, where we've got one slot here and one slot right here. That pretty easy identifier. There we go. So the way that goes on. So that's all there is to that. And then our final little ring, which we put on a magnet and didn't lose. We're going to put that down in here, like so, to hold the whole shoot and match together again. There. So, we've got our pump all together now. The last thing we need to do is fit some new O-rings to it. And there we go. Now it's all ready to go into the pump body. Into the stator support side, which is over here. I'm going to set the cover aside and bring it over here onto the bench. So we're going to, now also notice here, this is going to go down with the chain and the drive sprocket here in a minute, but it's worth a look here that on this side, so we can't get it mixed up, there's a thin notch that will indicate here and a wider notch right here that'll indicate right here. So can't screw up how to put that in here. So we'll just take a little lubrication and lube up our O-rings here. We've already inspected the bushings on in the stator support, and they are good to go. So we'll set that aside right here. We've got our drive gear for our, this is, like I said during disassembly, this is splines into the inside of the converter. Now this has to be dropped in at the same time. We can't fit these independent of each other. There we go. You can see that there's a gap right here. That's normal. That won't be there when I put the cover together. That's going to compress that cover, and that's that that baffle is actually has a bevel to it, so it compresses, it pushes up against here, so this pump lives in that pocket permanently. So all right, so we got that together. Now we're going to bring in our cover. We've already cleaned it, dried it, inspected our bearing. That's all good. We've installed a new torque converter seal, which goes just below flush. So we're going to set that down for our hole here. And everything's good to go. See, that won't, once it's installed together, that chain's not letting those gears go anywhere. So we're going to set that down on here. And get our speed handle and our bolts here. And we're going to tighten that down. And we'll be right back when we get these all tightened down. Okay, so now we're just finishing up torquing these bolts to 44 inch-pounds plus 45 degrees. And because those are torque to yield bolts, so we want to make sure that they are torqued correctly. 44 inch-pounds plus 45. Okay, so now we've got our halves all nice and tidied up together, so we can finish putting our pistons into the pump. Let's put our outer O-ring here onto the pump housing. Always use new O-rings, of course. We're going to start with the A-clutch piston. We get a little bit of lubrication on there. You can use whatever mixture you'd like. Just a little bit of an assembly gel. Remember back in the day we used to use STP mixed with transmission fluid. Now if anybody remembers those days. Okay, so there we have the piston, the A-clutch piston installed. Now we've got our retainers here and our return springs. So let's go over to the foot press and install the retainers. And just slide it out around, out of the way. There you go. Now we've got our split retainer installed. And now we can finish with our B clutch. So the easy way to do this, remember we had the housing with the tab. Right? We just put this together in the housing till it's all the way bottomed out. And then put this on where the notch goes. There. Perfect. Now it's all seated on there. Got the notch in there. Now we're ready to load up our clutch pack. But for final assembly, what we're going to do is we're going to put our bearings on here and set this in here like so, and then load the clutches up on top of that. But first, we're going to install the A clutches and put it in the press. I'm going to show you guys how to do this the factory way. We have the factory tool, and we're going to set up here in the press in just a little bit, and we're going to show you how to check the clutch clearance the factory way. You can check clearance any way you want, but Bill's here to teach you how the factory does it. Okay, so we're going to set that up and we'll be right back. Okay, so now you can see we're here at the press. We've got the special clutch tool, the compression tool. This is our force gauge. You can get these online. They're not really expensive, and a little spacer right here. So the factory method is we're going to put about 45 pounds of pressure on that clutch pack. That's compressing it. And what it's doing is it's compressing the cushion plate. So we get a proper measurement. And the specification is 55 to 65 with new clutches. And you can see here I've modified the feeler gauges so we can get in between the little nubs on the plate here and get a good measurement. So that's what that looks like when it's all set up, 55 to 65 thousandths. So that is the factory method for checking clutch clearance on the A clutch. And we'll be back in just a second with a final assembly for the A clutch. Okay, so we're back on the bench now. We've got our A clutch removed from the drum here, from the support. Now, if you don't have the special tools, what you can do is take out the cushion plate, load this back up in here, put the snap ring in, and check clutch clearance. And then what you would do is you get that number, and then you would add the thickness of the cushion plate, and you're going to get pretty close. You're going to get pretty close. So that would be a way to do it without the factory tools. But we like to show you how to do it correctly. So let's bring this back over here to our bench, or on the bench. Got our clutches now. We're going to, now that we've got our clutches all set up, and that's adjustable using the different thickness snap rings. Okay, so now we're going to do the final assembly here, because remember this has a ledge right here so that the frictions won't slide down. You have to put this in and then put the frictions on top of it. So let's go with our bearing first, our race, and there we go. The hub's in there all nice and neat. And then we can go ahead and stack up the clutches. And there's a larger tooth right here that where the gap in the steels go. So you want to make sure and align that every time, and then we're just going to align that and stack up our clutches. Okay, we've got our 8 clutch stack up all together. We're going to finish by installing the retaining snap ring. And the last bit of business is to use a new O-ring on the pump. And make sure it's all sitting in the groove. Of course, I don't know how to put an O-ring on. There we go. And now our pump's all ready to install into the case.